That's phenomenal. That is great. And it's so important to understand that as a leader, you have to, and you have to actually, the leader sets the tone. The leader sets the tone of the environment of the company. And so if you're coming across open, honest, and receptive to people talking with you, then it's going to make for a more conducive and a better environment for everybody. And so oftentimes employers don't recognize and understand that they're setting the tone, and then they wonder why their employees are a certain way. I remember going into a company, and I mean, when you walked in, you could feel the toxicity in the air. You could feel it in the air. But then when I looked at the owners and their persona and how they were towards their employees, then I understood. But the thing was getting them to understand you're complaining about your staff and your people when we need to look at ourselves and how we are projecting to them. And so as an employee and as an employer, understanding that you're setting the tone. And I don't know if many recognize that. I don't know. You would think they would, but.
Well, people have suggestion boxes, and imagine if you never met me after working with me for 4 years and I say, Vera, why don't you come to my office for a meeting? You'll be scared to death. And you haven't tested things earlier before seeing if there's repercussion or how open I am. So as I say, some people move with me a little bit quicker in regards to relationship building, but the ones that are quiet and reserved and very introverted, I still want to say hello to them. And I hope they say hello to me. And I'll tell you what, you're really not supposed to touch people, maybe handshakes and stuff like that. But I've received upper shoulder and arm taps on myself when I'm playing pinball in the morning. People say, good morning, Jefe. And so for me, I do find that appropriate. And I think it's a form of affection in a very nice way where they're comfortable with me. And maybe if it's not that individual, but there's 2 or 3 people in the group that have gotten to certain relationships with me or comfort levels, they are allowed to speak for somebody or with somebody. So try to use all mediums and all connections, and especially if somebody speaks differently than you do with the people. If you try to be out of character, you're going to get caught and you won't be authentic. But then again, you don't have these sort of expectations for them to understand your pressures of payroll, contracts, and carrying that weight. But I do believe that there is that sort of mutual commitment and fidelity towards a company. And if you could raise glasses that way or have that sort of respect towards one another, that goes a long way.
Absolutely. 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 When I